The thing that's always bothered me as a teacher is whenever I try and teach writing to my students, you know when you read a piece of writing and you think, there's just something missing, but you don't actually quite know what it is. And so I'd read through my students' writing and I could tell if I liked it or if I didn't like it, but then to give them the right feedback to help them improve and grow, I've always found that tricky. So that's the thing I like most about Brightpath, is that you can give students real targeted feedback about what they need to work on in their writing to improve. When you first you start using Brightpath, you get them to do a piece of writing, and as a teacher you read through it and you look at it, but then you compare it to lots of other examples of writing, and then from that you score your students, and then from that you can see how they're distributed across the cohort. And all that stuff I guess is helpful and useful, but personally for a classroom teacher, I don't really care so much where my kids, how they're distributed across a big range. What I more care about is, well then what can I do to help the individual kids move and progress and grow. So there's the teaching points tab in Brightpath, so you click on that and it shows what the students need to be targeted and what they need to be explicitly taught to be able to move to progress to the next stage of that particular writing genre. So what I did in class, I was thinking about how am I going to get the students to actually know this, and I teach year 6, so they're most of the time pretty sensible and pretty mature. So I actually screenshotted the teaching points, and I made up sheets for each student with all the teaching points that they needed to work on, and I gave it to them, and I said stick this in the front of your writing book, sort of just in the front cover. Whenever we come to do writing, this is what you can be looking at to see how you can work this in and improve. Now, some of the teaching points the students could understand, but some of them, the language was too difficult for them to understand what it actually meant. So what I did when I did my guided writing sessions, I would take a small group of 4, 5, 6, however many kids, and work through the teaching points that I'd got from Brightpath and help them develop those in their own writing. When we were doing those small explicit groups writing, and I gave them the teaching points to actually start working on in their own piece of writing, I'd never done it before as a classroom teacher. I might have verbally given them some feedback about their writing, or even written on their writing sample so that they can get that feedback. But I think it was nice to have that guided writing kind of experience where there was maybe 2 or 3 students who had the same teaching points that I'd got from Brightpath, got them together, read through their bits of work, discussed what was great about it, what some of the teaching points. And for most of the students, there was sort of 5, 6, 7, 8 different teaching points. Now, obviously, you don't try and cover all 8 in one session, but we just picked one of those things and worked on it. And that's what we worked on for a couple of weeks with some of the students. They certainly improved their writing because of it. I think it was probably some of the most valuable explicit writing sessions we'd had all year by using this information. Yeah, I was a bit apprehensive about using Brightpath at first because of the time factor. I thought it was going to be another thing I just had to get done, and it wouldn't really be very useful to me as a teacher. But I really see the value in it now of being able to understand where my students are at with their writing and be confident in making those judgments, and then also knowing how I can take their writing and improve it, so that I can give them those teaching points that you get, and you can really see your students grow. You can see growth in them and you know how to help them grow in that. So I think it's a really valuable experience.